Hey guys, Pedro here to tell you about the latest from League of Distortion, Galvanize, on October 25th on Napalm Records. The album has 10 tracks, 36 minutes in length, and this is the band's second full-length studio album. They are a German modern metal band. When it comes to the design of this record, I really like how they put it all together. First of all, I love the length. 36 minutes is perfect for a record like this. It allows the album to feel concise, to feel cohesive, to feel like it's straight to the point. And it also doesn't allow the album to sound or feel repetitive, which is a really important element for a record like this. The other aspect of the way this album is constructed is that they understood the commonalities that existed across many of the songs. So breaking those commonalities with tracks that feel or sound different definitely create a lot more ebbs and flows, making the record more fluid, more dynamic, and overall a lot more engaging. So a design that enhances the quality of the record and that enhances the overall experience that the record provides. Once you get into the sound, this is definitely an album that has a big electronic push behind it. But it's not just an electronic sounding album, it's an album that also has a lot of heaviness. And sometimes that electronic sound pushes the album towards a more heavier experience, almost creating an industrial backdrop as far as the sonic experience goes. And sometimes that electronic sound pushes towards a much softer spot, which creates more of a pop experience as far as some of these songs are concerned. So having this electronic backdrop work in two different ways is where you're going to be able to find things that break these songs apart and things that makes each track feel a lot more unique and not as connected to one another. I also appreciate the fact that the electronic sound of this record doesn't completely dominate the experience and it doesn't have a uniform approach with every single track. I think that's when songs start to become repetitive, albums start to become repetitive, is when you have a core element that has the same exact impact and the same exact texture song in and song out. It's not the case here because overall you're still going to find the drums and guitars very heavy. They have a heavy presence consistently throughout the entire album, and having those electronic elements emphasize that heaviness, pushing the sound into that industrial side of their spectrum, and then have also that electronic sound bring in a lot more brightness, a lot more room for the songs to breathe, enhancing the hookiness and catchiness of all of the tracks on this album. You have that pop influence coming in. This creates a very nice balance, a very nice yin and yang, two sides of the exact same coin that you're going to be seen, heard, experienced throughout the entire album. And the guitars on this record is not just about the heaviness that they give. They have also an impact in how substantial the sound is. It's an album that doesn't feel thin at any given time. Even in the softer spots of the record, you're still going to find this album to have a big bandwidth. It's an album that feels full, that has a lot of sound to it, and the guitars play a very important role in that, not only through the heavier side, but also through the more melodic experience. Same could be said for the drums. I enjoy the drums on this record tremendously, because mixed in with those heavy guitars, they were able to infuse a metal influence into the sound of this album, allowing the record to have a much bigger impact, a much bigger push. And even on the softer side, the drums really work well in creating a more substantial experience, and once again, not allowing the tracks to become super thin. Bright, light, but never thin. Now, when it comes to the vocal performance, Ace is phenomenal. I felt like the performance was on point, song in, song out, great delivery, great texture, great energy, bringing intensity, bringing aggression in some songs, and then when you move more into the chorus is where the hooks come out. Super hooky album, both musically and vocally, but predominantly vocally, especially in the choruses, and that makes the songs have a memorable moment within them. Outside of everything that connects this record together, having songs that have those memorable moments inserted into those chorus definitely gives a much longer shelf life, not just to the record, but to the tracks themselves. Some harsh vocals here and there, sprinkled here and there, just for some texture. I really enjoyed the overall vocal performance. I thought it was definitely one of the catalysts and one of the pillars of the quality of this record. A record that has a lot of quality throughout. It was a much better sounding album that I was expecting coming in. To be honest, I was expecting the electronic side of their sound to completely overshadow and overrun everything else, including the vocals, and that was just not the case. It's a more complete sounding record, a more mature sounding record. Obviously, to some, it's still going to sound very popish. To some, you're going to be able to find a little bit of heaviness to gravitate to hold on to. But I felt like the album overall definitely shows an evolution from what the band did on their debut album. Definitely a much better record all around, a more mature album all around. As far as favorite songs goes, I picked 3 tracks that offer 3 different experiences. Starting off with Chainsaw. This is a heavier sounding song. Is where you're going to see more of that industrial side influence of the band. At least you're going to feel that more heaviness out of the drums and the guitars, and you feel that aggression that the song has, even vocally in the verses. Now, once the chorus kicks in, the chorus is just massive, both musically and vocally. Very hooky, very catchy chorus with a more pop rock feel to it, but it balances really well with the heavier side of the sound and the vocal performance that you're going to find in the verses. Allows the track to have this unbalanced nature, but this is what's going to create the right ebbs and flows to make the song memorable all around. And when you get to the end of the track, I think you're going to figure it out that this felt to you that it's more of a heavier song just with a very hooky chorus. Next we have In Our DNA. This song features Cypecore, and that feature of Cypecore is really interesting because it impacts the song both musically and vocally. It impacts the song musically because this track really feels close to a Cypecore sounding track. So it's a song that brings in memories of what a Cypecore song could be in a collaboration with League of Distortion. The two bands have a lot in common sound-wise, and this track really works well by bringing them together and creating a song that works for either one. So having this collaboration really gets off at the right start with the sound merging well with the DNA of both bands. And then you have the impact vocally. The male vocals on this track allows you to have more of a duet style approach, and that to me adds incredible quality to the song. It adds incredible texture to the song. It adds incredible life. Starting off with one, introducing the other, bringing them both together. It's a track that vocally really surpassed all my expectations, and I think if you're going to have a feature in the song, you want that feature to really set the track apart and add incredible value to what the song can offer, and that was exactly the case with In Our DNA. Last but not least, Anti-Hero. Now this is a track that falls more on the pop rock side of their musical spectrum. It's a song that has a great vocal approach, perhaps a lot more hooky and memorable vocally than it is musically, and that's because the verses feel a little bit more stripped down. They feel more R&B, pop rock experience, if you will, and the vocals lead the charge, and the vocals lead the song forward, and they become this magnet that you just become attracted to. Then once you move into the chorus, you're going to find a track that has more volume, more sound, more melody, very hooky, very catchy, but a much different experience, a track that just gains momentum and gains size with it. But all around, the vocals, that explosion in the vocals and in the sound that the chorus has, is just really to set a marker, is just really to make that chorus memorable and make that chorus the focal point of a song that all around feels a lot more like a pop rock R&B style track with just some heavier elements here and there. This is it, League of Distortion, Galvanize, out October 25th on Napalm Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Hit me up in the comment section, and I'll see you all at the next video. Take care, you guys.